Take a good look at your self-worth. Changing the way you view things is hard work. Aging is a perception. Are you getting old or are you just maturing? Stay tuned, we're going to talk about this. Hello, my posse. Hello, all my new subscribers. Thank you so much for coming to my living room today. I so appreciate you coming over. Today is a topic that it actually came to me the other day. So we're going to talk about aging. Are you getting old or are you just maturing like a fine wine? We're going to break it down and see how you feel about how you are aging. You know, anybody can grow old. Is all you got to do is have birthdays. That's all. You just have birthdays and you're growing old. But maturing, that takes some effort, that takes some thinking, that takes some positive energy, and we can all do it. I don't think I'm getting old. I think everything in life has a perception, the way you perceive things. I was talking to my granddaughter the other day, and we were talking about kids at school bullying and about how she took it and how she felt bad when somebody said something. And I said, well, do you think that they were teasing or do you think it was actually bullying? Because it's the accents on the syllables, which I've talked to you before about, and she gets mad when I say syllables. But it's like how you perceive that. Like if somebody says to you, wow, are you that old? Or if they say to you, wow, are you that old? Or, wow, are you old? You know, it's the perception of maybe how you feel that day on how you take that. And the other day I was out and somebody had asked me, which really triggered me, and they said to me, how old were you when you retired? And I said, oh, gee, I retired probably when I was 72, probably 7 years ago, I guess. And they said, well, how old are you? And I said, well, I'm 79. And they went, oh my gosh, I didn't think you were that old. And I was like, wait a minute. I know they probably meant well, that I didn't look that old, but I thought, you don't look that old? Again, she said that old. She didn't say, oh, you don't look that old. You know, it's my perception of how I took that in. And I thought, no, I'm not old. I'm not old. I'm happily going into my maturity. And I'll tell you, I think it's a good way to look at yourself. You know, it takes work to mature. I mean, you know, I'm 79 and I change it up. I have my wigs. I have my puff sleeves. I'm not old. I'm not old. I'm maturing. And I think, you have to look at yourself. To me, old means you're sitting on the couch or the recliner, you're watching TV every day, you're sitting there going, poor me, poor me, poor me. You know, there's nothing more for me to do. Nobody's around. And you sit there and you just ho-hum and you get up maybe and you make yourself some dinner or lunch, whatever, not in that order. But that you're just on the couch doing nothing because you think you're too old to be valuable. You're too old to do anything. You sit there with no makeup on, your sweats on, or your nightgown all day because nobody's coming to the door. Why should I bother? I mean, that's old thinking to me. You know, back in the day when I was in school, we were all the same age, some of us, and you had those gym teachers and those sixth grade teachers. They looked old. They didn't think about fixing themselves up. They got up in the morning, put their lousy little school dress on, and they came in. And I remember as a kid, 13, 14, thinking, my God, they got 1 foot in the grave. And they were probably, and I know this as I got older, they were only in their 40s. We're not like that anymore. We are totally not invisible. Now, if you choose to be old and sit on the couch and do nothing, and, there's nothing for you to do, all the chapters in your life, the books have been closed. There's nothing to to go forward. There's no new chapters in your life. Then you're thinking old. You have to change your mindset on that. The great thing about aging is you don't lose all those years that you've already had. I mean, they don't go away. You keep them all. And I think moving forward into the next plateau of our life shouldn't mean that all the chapters have closed and there's nothing more for you to do. Every year of our lives brings us to who we are now, who we are today, how we feel. Things change in our life. I think the hardest thing, and I mean this sincerely from my heart, because I go through things just like you. Yeah, I hold a positive attitude. I do. But I think that the hardest thing is, like, we talk about the dash in life, but also you have different chapters, different books in your life. And, you have to close a book and you have to open up a new chapter in a new book. And sometimes it's really difficult to close the old book and to forget about that part, because you love the characters in that book. They're vivid in your mind. You feel guilty if you maybe go to the next book and open up a new chapter, because that book, you want to keep those people. You want to keep the memory alive of those people, which is fine. But the book at the end says the end, and that chapter ends. And it's difficult. It's difficult for me, and I'm sure you feel the same way, that to close those chapters, because, and I've talked about this before, my grandkids are older. They don't need me as much as they used to. My daughter has a new husband. She's busy with her own life. She has her own life to build. They don't need us as much. But I keep that chapter open, and all those memories that I had, of everybody and the kids and everything growing up. But that chapter of that particular part of my life is over. And sometimes it's hard to jump to the next chapter of your life and forget about those. You don't want to forget about them because they're great memories, but you want to keep them. You want to keep those kids little. You want to keep your kids close to you. You don't want things to change, but they do. They grow up, they get their own life. They don't need us as much anymore. So what do? Do we just sit and say, poor me, nobody needs me anymore? I'm old. There's nothing for me to do. I mean, really. Or do we open up the new book, like, the new episode? And do we find positivity in that new episode? Do we find new life, new things to do in that next chapter of our lives? And we have to. And sometimes closing the book is difficult, but we have to find a new chapter and a new season and a new episode to keep going into our golden years. Because you can't sit and vegetate. If you do, you become old. When you feel old, you look old. And I'm telling you, and I know I say this a lot, I get up every morning and I can't wait to look in the mirror and put my face on. Put a new wig on, well, not new, but put a wig on, put some clothes on, and I walk around the day. If I want to sit on the couch for an hour and watch TV, I can do that, but I'm ready. I'm not going to have company. I haven't invited, so to speak, anybody over, but I'll have neighbors that pop over, or somebody will, the apps guy, somebody will come over. But I look forward to that. That's my new chapter every day of my life, that I open up that book. I do it for myself. And yes, I have a husband, and I'm grateful to have my husband, and he likes me when I'm fixed up. But even if you're alone and you don't have your spouse, or you've been alone for a while, there's something magical about fixing yourself up, taking care of your skin, working on the whole body, and looking your best, even if nobody's around. There's something magical about that goes inside, that makes you feel like getting up off the couch, cooking a meal, calling a friend, even your voice when you like yourself and you feel good about yourself. Even your voice on a phone call can be more chipper and not like, there's some people that I've talked to in the past that I call and go, hey, how you doing? Well, I don't know, I'm pretty lonely today. There's nothing for me to do. And the first thing I want to do is go, okay, nice talking to you, bye. Because it's like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a downer. But, I just keep myself and I perk up and stuff, but, there are people that like that, and I just want to reach through the phone sometimes and go, listen, we all have chapters in our lives that we have to close, and we don't like it. I mean, we don't. And sometimes, even my husband will say this, boy, all we did for them, and now, they don't even acknowledge us, or boy, we sure wasted our lives, didn't we, spending all that money on this or that person, and they don't even call us. And I have to stop him, because when we were doing those things, it was wonderful. We felt wonderful. And you can't take that wonderfulness away just because they grew up and they have a chapter of their own life. We still did what we wanted to do, and we had fun doing it. And that's the key. Every day that you're here, you have to enjoy life and have fun doing it. You can't sit on the couch and vegetate, because that, to me, is old. And I am not going to do that, nor should you. We have to learn to accept the challenges of life. We have to learn to accept the new growth that's with us. And that makes us mature, not old, because it's way of thinking. It's like I said before when I started, it's the perception of how you feel about others, the perception of how what they say to you. It's the perception of how you feel about yourself. This is what makes you strong and makes you enjoy your next days. Thinking young, staying young. When I was younger, people used to say to me, boy, you sure are mature for your age. Can you imagine if they would say that now? Hey, Babs, you sure are mature for your age. What would you say to somebody that said that? I think I'm immature for my age. In fact, my family, none of them appreciate my immaturity. Now, that's fact. And I hope they're watching, because, you don't appreciate my immaturity, because I really am immature. I am. I think that's what keeps me mature and not old. I'm very immature. I mean, I will do and say anything when we go out for a laugh, and my family can't stand it. They get so embarrassed, and I get angry when they get embarrassed. I mean, when they're playing music at a basketball game or a football game, I really have to contain myself not to get up and do my moves. And I've done it a couple times, and my daughter will go, Mom, and then Bella will even go, Nana, and I'm like, what? So I'm really immature, and I'll say the craziest things off the wall, spontaneous, funny things, because I'm immature, and I love it, and nobody gets me. I mean, they laugh at me if if we're by ourselves, but and other people laugh at me. They think I'm a hoot, but my family goes, Mom, stop. My daughter has been like that, and my husband's been like that, I think, forever. Even when she was little, I remember going to a Neil Diamond concert once, and I was up like, hello, you coming to America? Yeah, you coming to, and I'm up dancing, and Gina's like this, and Denny's going, sit down, you're making a fool of yourself. So it's like they got a little bit better, my husband, with that, but really, they don't really get the whole immaturity. But I like being immature, and I think it's a way that I express myself and help myself from not getting old, because I think the more immature you are, the better you are. I think aging too bothers us women more, because we see changes in our body. The whole comparison, I think, that some of us have, comparing us to, oh boy, when I was this age, I really looked like this, or boy, I really had a waistline when I was this age. The whole idea of body changing is hard on a lot of women. Losing your looks, maybe you were gorgeous when you were young, and you feel that you've lost some of your looks, and it eats at you, I think, as women. Always comparing ourselves to how we used to look, instead of looking the best we can now for what we have. And you can do it. I mean, here it comes again, but you can always be the best version of yourself that you can. You don't have to get old. You just have to mature. And you should be grateful that you have an opportunity to get old, because aging means you're alive and you're well. And listen, if you want to be funny and if you want to be immature, have at it. Even if you're by yourself around the house. Sometimes I'm by myself and I get up and I do crazy dance move, and I keep thinking I'm gonna go on TikTok, I think, and just be the grandma with the moves, because I got some moves. I keep thinking that I'm gonna do that. I mean, my grandkids will see it, but that's okay. But yeah, but I think the difference is the perception of how you feel when you're aging. You know, you don't want to be old. We're matured. And I think there's enough products out there. There's enough potents out there. There's enough vitamins out there. There's enough glamour wigs. There's enough makeup. We have so many tools at our disposal today that we do not have to age and be invisible. We have so many tools to work with. Nobody is homely, nobody is not pretty, nobody is old. It's the perception of how you feel about yourself. But you have these tools at your disposal that can make you be the best that you can be. And why not use them? I mean, seriously, it's like I said, if you get sod put on in your house outside to make it be beautiful, why would you not water it and fertilize it? What's the point? You just watch it turn brown and get grungy? I mean, you wouldn't do that to your grass, so why would you do that to yourself? I mean, I'm not going to go down without a fight, and nor do I think you should. So I think that there's a difference in growing old and growing mature. I think that if you perceive yourself as old, like, oh, I'm over the hill, oh, I'm too old to fix my face, I'm too old to wear blue eyeshadow. Well, maybe blue is not maybe our bag, but I'm too old to wear long hair because at 45 you're supposed to have short hair, or I'm too old. You're never too old to do anything unless you're pushing up daisies. I mean, you got a new life and a new everyday. You've got to make the best of it, girls. You have to, because nobody's going to drop youth in your lap. Nobody's going to drop anything in your lap that's going to make you be anything else but the way you want to be inside. And that is just the best version of yourself that you can be. So growing old is up to you. Do you want to grow old, or do you want to mature and age gracefully? I mean, I choose to mature and age gracefully because I just think that I have these opportunities, and I'm going to use it, and I'm going to use it to my benefit. So I don't want you to be old. I don't want you to sit in the chair. And if you have a disability, I understand that sometimes, you can't move, your arms are sore, maybe you can't walk and do things, but if you can get out and even sit by a bright window and just look out what's around you is something that is beautiful. I mean, the views in life are beautiful. It's like an open door every day that you get to view. And I think that you should look at life and look at the views of life in a totally different, positive way. And if you can't, you're immobile or something, grab a TV table, put it in front of you, and do some crafting. I mean, look at the crafting that's on YouTube alone that you could sit there. I'm sure some of you are so talented and you just think, I can't do that. It's not, no. It's just, I'm too old for that. I used to do that, but I can't do that now. No, I mean, maybe that was a chapter in your life that you did faster. Maybe you won't be as fast. My husband just said to me the other day, he was outside working because the man he's the epitome of maturing and not succumbing to his age and old, because he works from the time he gets up until the time he goes to bed. And he said to me, I'm not moving so fast. I'm really slow. And I'm like, well, what time clock are you on? Last time I looked, you retired. There's no time clock. And I said, for 76 years old, you move pretty good, buddy, better than me. So, he thinks he's slow, but he's working to the best of his ability with his breathing and his oxygen. Don't define him. He never says, poor me, I can't do anything. He says, I'm slow, but I quickly snap him out of that because, we do move slower. I mean, it may take us more time to get from point A to point B, but we're still going to get there the same as we did when we were younger. We're just a little slower, and we get to stop and view the things around us longer. So that's a good thing. So I say learn to accept your age, don't succumb to your age, and mature into your golden years with all the tools and all the positivity that you can possibly have. And yeah, our past is our past. Our books have closed, and we've lost a lot of people. Not that that chapter ever closes when you have to deal with the death, as you know, and that book will never close. But it's a memory that we have that we just have to move through and move forward. And we have a lot of those little obstacles in our life as we age. We lose a lot of friends, we lose a lot of people. But the ones we do have, let's embrace them and reach out to them. And more so, reach out and embrace yourself, because you're important. And you need to find the love inside that's there and the beauty inside that's there, and use the tools that you have and that you're capable of using to be the best version of yourself that you can be. That's fact. So I'm going to read you something. My daughter sent this to me, and I think this was really cool. We don't know who the author was, but whoever wrote this is amazing to me. So I'm just going to read it to you verbatim from the note that my daughter sent me. It says, "When you are young, you don't think what you might be like when you are old. I was young once, to all my female friends from 40 years and up. Most of us are going through the next phase of our lives. We're at the age where we see wrinkles, gray hair, and extra pounds. Yeah. We see the cute 25-year-olds and reminisce, but we were also 25, just as they will be one day our age. We aren't the girls in the summer clothes anymore. What we bring to the table with their youth and zest, we bring our wisdom and our experience. Wouldn't trade that for nothing, girls. We have raised families, run households, paid bills, dealt with diseases, sadness, deaths, and everything else life has assigned us. Some of us have lost those that were nearest and dearest to us, yeah. We are survivors. We are warriors in the quiet. We are women, like a classic car or a fine wine. Even if our bodies may not be what they once were, they carry our souls, our courage, and our strength. 100%. We shall all enter this chapter of our lives with humility, grace, and pride over everything we have been through, and should never feel bad about getting older. It's a privilege that is denied by so many others. So on that, I'm going to leave you, and just know that I am here to help you. I talk from the heart, and I know feelings. Just always remember. And it's kind of like, for every door that closes, another one opens. It's kind of like a phrase that's kind of old catch-all. But I think for every book that closes, for all the characters that have closed, the next book you revisit, new characters, new people, new friends, and maybe even some from the old book come forward in the new book that still bring you joy, and you can still hold on to those. So I love you, girls. Thanks for coming by. And remember, think young, think positive, and be the best version of yourself that you can be. And always remember, be the I in kind. I love you. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.